Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. It's an odd question and one that's a little uncomfortable too. As we continue this week to look at questions people asked Jesus, we might overlook this one. And with many Bible stories, particularly those about Jesus, we like to picture ourselves as part of the scene. We go there in our mind's eye and try to view it in our imaginations like there was a TV camera observing it all. That's especially true of Jesus' Last Supper with his disciples. The communion meal is familiar to us, and sometimes it might feel as if we were there among the disciples, witnessing these events firsthand. Perhaps we picture the scene something like Da Vinci's painting. We think about Jesus breaking the bread and raising the cup. But then that's about as far as it goes. Oh, we might picture that scene in the garden where Jesus prays while the disciples sleep, or we might even imagine Peter denying Jesus or even following along behind Jesus as he carries the cross. But when we jump there, we've skipped over the part about Jesus telling the disciples that one of them would betray him. We don't really want to picture ourselves in that scene. Maybe it hits a little too closely to home. Because you see, that's when the disciples ask that really odd question. Jesus had told them that one of them, one of the 12, one of his closest followers, one of them would betray him. Now, if we do imagine ourselves in this scene, if we do imagine being one of those disciples who heard Jesus say that, we have to ask ourselves how we would react. It's a natural thing to ask. And it's not hard to imagine our natural response either. We'd puff ourselves up and proclaim in a loud voice that it wasn't us who would be the one to deny him. "It is not I, Lord," we would say. But that's not what they say. Instead, they come back with a question. "Surely not I, Lord." And it's an odd question indeed. Each of them intends it as some sort of denial, some way of saying that it's not them who will do this. But the fact that it's a question means, too, that they're looking to Jesus to answer if it is them or not. And now follow this. That means that each of them thinks that there's a distinct possibility that they might be the one. And that implies that each one of them has already thought about betraying Jesus themselves. Their question is a denial and a hope at the same time. "Lord, I don't want to betray you," they each try to say. But there's a possibility that I might be the one who will. And isn't it telling that the one story we seldom picture ourselves being in is the one we are probably the most part of? "Surely not I, Lord," we ask, knowing all the while that we do betray Jesus. Over and over we do, when we wallow in our wealth and ignore the poor, when we live our faith only when it's convenient and easy, when we reach out to our neighbor only when it's comfortable, when we seek our way instead of God's way. Yet still we gather around. The meal is a feast of forgiveness and love and grace. Come, all sinners and betrayers. It's time for the meal of grace. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.